Welcome everyone to today's session for our Scholarly Communications webinar series. Today I'm going to talk about EndNote 20 specifically and just give you an introduction to using this citation manager. I have an outline for myself. I wanted to go over the interface just in case you're not aware of some of the changes, how to add references to your library, some of the other more advanced features that you might be interested in when using EndNote, and then also using Cite while you write. So citing your references while you write your paper within Word. And as I go through, if you ever have any questions or you need me to show something again, please feel free to put it in chat, interrupt me. I'm totally fine with that. And then at the end, we can always go back over anything that maybe you want to see again. And if it's helpful, I do have a quick tips guide that will go over everything I'm talking about today, and I can share that via email with everyone after our session. So let's get started. Like I said, I'll be talking about EndNote 20 today. You may already be using EndNote 20, or maybe you're on EndNote X9. Some of the new features that are available with EndNote 20 would be a new intuitive interface design. They've improved their PDF reading, and even their duplicate search feature has added new fields that you can search on. And you're also able to have multiple libraries open in separate windows, which is really great. But if you are using EndNote X9 and you'd like to upgrade, just make sure you back up all of your existing libraries before you upgrade. And then the conversion should happen automatically when you open that existing library within EndNote 20. But if you ever have issues with that, always feel free to reach out and we can kind of go over that troubleshooting or conversion process together. And another note, if you are looking to collaborate with your colleagues, it is important to be on the same version. So before you get started, I would agree on either EndNote X9 or EndNote 20 so that you're all working with that same version, X9 or 20. You can't go back from 20 to X9. So just keep that in mind so that that process is smooth for you all. But you might be wondering, how do I get EndNote on my device? Well, so the library does provide support for EndNote. We can help you troubleshoot. Any questions you have, feel free to reach out to us. However, we do not manage the software itself. That is through MCWIS. And at MCW, if you are a student, you have access to EndNote. And then different departments will buy into EndNote. And those staff, faculty, any employees would have access to EndNote because their department bought into it. But how do you find that out? And I wanted to show you that right now. So I went to Infoscope, and I'll go to this MCWIS service desk link, and I'll show you what that looks like. All right. So now I'm logged into the service desk. You'll see all of these icons here, and I'm looking for software. So I'll click that, and then I want to click download. So everything that I have access to will be here in this download section. So if your department has bought in to EndNote, you will see the EndNote link right here. So once I click that, here is everything available to me to download. And since we're talking about EndNote 20 today, there is EndNote 20 for Mac and then EndNote 20 for Windows. You would just click that link and download the software. And something to note that is important after you download it and you open it up, say in your downloads folder, make sure you extract the files from the folder. If you don't extract them, when you start to install EndNote, it's going to ask you for a product key. And that is for people who have purchased the software elsewhere. So once you extract it, the install should be completely smooth. You won't be prompted to pay for anything, register, enter a product key. It should automatically install for you. So if you hit that stop point where it's asking you for that product key, just go back and make sure that you've extracted the files from the download folder. And just to point out, there are still downloads here for EndNote 9 as well, if anyone is interested in that. All right, so let me jump over to EndNote itself. And I wanted to start completely from the beginning for you so that you can see what it looks like to create a new library. And I will mention, I'm sure you noticed, I am on a Mac. So if you are on a PC, some things will be just a little different. But I did notice that really there aren't too many changes. It's just possibly where maybe your preferences selection is going to be. But all the features, all the tools, they're all the same for Mac and PC. So I am going to create a new library, and I will set my section. Let's do my desktop. And I'll just put this in a folder just so I can keep everything together. I'm going to put it in my documents folder. And here I can rename my library, maybe something a little more unique, because this is the default, my EndNote library. If you never rename it, you're going to have, 5 or 10 libraries that are all named the same thing. So I'll just do my last name and a test. So I'm creating that new library here. And I'm going to save that. And something to note about EndNote is it is creating your EndNote library itself, as well as a data file that kind of sits behind it. Now, these two things need to stay together at all times. Otherwise, your library won't open, your files could get corrupted. So you always want to make sure that you're saving it somewhere where those two files can stay together, the library and the data file. So something to keep in mind at the beginning so that you don't run into any issues. I have had users try and share libraries without that data file, and then your colleague's not able to open it, and things like that. So always remember that those two things need to stay together at all times. Let me make this a little larger for you. So here is my EndNote library interface. And I wanted to go over just a few tools that might be helpful and a few customizations that you might want to make before we go into adding references into this new library. So just to talk about the interface real quickly, on the left-hand side, you'll see all of the information you're going to need for that navigation, all references, recently added references, and we'll add references from 2 different databases just so you can see what this looks like once we add citations. And then I will also talk about how to use your groups. That will be really helpful. And I will go over how to find full text. That is something that is really great if you are working with a large set of citations. We can try and automatically find some of the full text for ourselves. But if I go to the top, I'm going to look for my preferences. And I think on a PC, it might be under Edit, but just hover over and look for preferences, and you'll see all of these are available. So let me go over a few things I wanted to share that you could customize. So this is going to be our display fields. You can set this to anything you'd like. You will have a default set, but you can change the order of anything. You can delete anything you might think is just not helpful. But you'll see here, first we have that read on read status. So that's going to be if I open that PDF and read the article. I can also have a column that will let me know if a PDF is attached, and that's really helpful. And then we have our standard fields. So author, year, title, journal, pages. But something else that might be useful to you, or maybe just interesting to add, you could add the name of the database. So you could have a field that would let you know where you got your citation from. So whether is it PubMed, Web of Science, Scopus, Google Scholar, you can have that listed in one of the columns, which might be helpful if you're working with a large set of data and maybe need to find the original source again. I will go over duplicates as well, so finding duplicates, as well as full text. So I'll probably pop back over here in a little bit. But I did want to talk about output styles and something that you can change and customize here. So you might be using APA, you maybe are using the JAMA style, MLA, anything. So all of those are available to you. So I wanted to show you how you can see those and possibly even add more if you need to. So let me open this style manager. So here I have all of the EndNote styles that are included within my EndNote instance right now. And you'll see there are over 500, and they're all listed alphabetically. So I can, go through, see if my styles on here that I need to add. Maybe you're publishing within Cell, you want to turn that on so that it's always easily accessible. But maybe you're not finding your style here, or maybe you're publishing with someone that is using APA style, but maybe making a change or two that is custom. You can actually edit any style and make those changes for the specific journal that you're publishing in. However, I would say if you're going to do that, you'll always want to download a copy of it. So say I'm publishing with a journal that is using APA style, but making some changes. Well, I don't want to change my original APA style. I might need to use that for future projects. I don't want to change something that is, the standard. I would want to go in and re-download another copy of the APA 7th edition, rename it so that I can edit that style and not worry about touching the original. And it's really easy to get there. So there's actually a link right here within EndNote. So get more from the web. So I'll click that. And here we can search for any output styles. So maybe I'm looking at a pediatric journal. I can scroll through here and see all of these journals have their output styles right here available. I can see them and I can download them right here. And same with APA or JAMA. Just type in whatever you're interested in. And if it's a copy, just want to re-download that so that you can edit that new version.
Can you go backwards and show what you did to make that, to bring up that window again?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to Tools and then Output Styles. And I'm going to click on Open Style Manager. And then from here, there's a link right below there. And sorry if it is a little small, it's hard to make any of these larger for you to view. There's a link at the bottom here that says Get More on the Web. And if I click that, I'm taken right to the EndNote Output Styles page. And you can just Google it too. If you Googled EndNote Output Styles, you'd be taken here as well. All right. So now I'm going to jump over and show you how to add references to your EndNote library, both from a database, and then I'll show you how, say you had a random PDF and you want to add that as well, I'll show you how I would do that. So let me jump out. I have some searches already done so that we can jump right to downloading. So I did a search on my topic, and say I'm interested in all of the articles pulled here. I'm doing a comprehensive lit search and I want to add everything. So I'm actually going to look at this send to, and I can make this a little bigger. So send to. So I'll click that and I'm going to look for citation manager. And then I'll get a prompt here. Do I want to only include the results on the first page, or do I want all results? So for this example, I'll just do all results for now and create file. So now everything is going to start downloading. And what's really great is that when it's done, I'll be able to click this and it will automatically import into my EndNote library. But since it's quite a few citations, it'll just take a minute. Okay, it looks like it's ready. So I'll click that and you'll see it starts to import on its own. All right. And I wanted this to happen as well, so I didn't sign in earlier today. This pop-up is going to be for finding full text. You'll want to be able to do this. So again, like I said, it will automatically try and find PDFs for you within PubMed and our other library subscriptions. But since I'm off campus, I would have to authenticate to start doing that. So let me just do that now, and I'll show you what happens automatically. Right. And this is another great feature within EndNote, is that this can start working automatically for you. And if you ever need help, our information is always going to be listed there. Oh, okay. So it would start searching the first 250 right now. So let's go back, and I'm actually going to I did the same search within Scopus. And the reason I want to do this is in 2 different databases is just to show you where those downloads are. And also I want to show you how to run deduplication. So I need to download hopefully the same set of results from 2 different databases. So here I am. I'm going to switch this to select all. I ran my search in Scopus, and this is everything that it found. And again, I'm going to export all 1,800 items. Now here is where you can select how you want to export your citations. And if you can hopefully see up here, there's this RIS format, and it lets you know that it's for EndNote specifically. There are going to be other options here based on your download needs, but you'll want to look for this RIS format. And then you might see here something else selected. I'd like to just stick with the citation information, and you can see all of the fields that it will download. You could add other information fields as well. So maybe you want to add that abstract and keywords. That could be really helpful for you if you are looking at a large set of citations. So let's just select that and export. And again, even though this is a different type of file, the other one through PubMed was NBIB. This is going to be RIS, and both will automatically open within EndNote. And it just makes the process very seamless and user-friendly. Let's just give that a second. And while that's going, I can jump back over and show you a few things that happened here on the left-hand navigation pane. So you can see from PubMed that we did import 2,700 records. You'll see here imported references, that same number. And then you'll also see retractions. This is really helpful, and it's not a new feature, but I'd say relatively new. This is great to know if anything that you have in your library, possibly including in your publication has been retracted. So if I click that, I'll see which article has that retraction. You're going to see it marked over here as well. They really want you, this to catch your eye so that you know that it is a retracted publication. And then you'll see finding full text, how that's automatically working behind the scenes. It isn't going to be foolproof. I'd say at best, you're going to find maybe 50% of your full text. So it's helpful, but it won't do everything for you, unfortunately. And it does look like our Scopus file is ready. So let's open that as well. All right, and it's still working anyway. So now you'll see those numbers have changed again. So now we have about 4,500 records, and you'll see imported references, that 27. Oh, there we go. All right, so it looks like we are ready to go. Okay, wonderful. So I have everything here, but I only showed you how to do PubMed and Scopus. We have many databases, but I know a lot of people do like to use Google Scholar. Well, you can actually turn on the EndNote download link within Google Scholar, so it might not automatically be on for you. So I wanted to quickly show you how to do that. So if I go to Google Scholar and I go over to this menu on the left, and I go to settings. And then I go to Bibliography Manager. You might not have anything here, but if you see here, I have this show links selected, and I have EndNote. And all I have to do is save that, and I'd be ready to go. So if I did, I will see that link right here for all of the citations I find. So I can individually go and select and import them into my EndNote library. And I do have just a side note. It is not related to EndNote, but if we're already in Google Scholar, I just want to mention it. You will see on the right-hand side, I have this link to get it from MCW Libraries. Again, this isn't automatically turned on. You would have to do that yourself. So I just wanted to show you, if you go to settings, library links, and you're going to type in Medical College of Wisconsin. And you'll know I already have it. So you'll select that, again, save it, and you'll have these links available to you. So while it's not EndNote specific, I did want to point that out just because it is helpful if you are a Google Scholar user. All right, so let's pop back over to our EndNote library. So you may also be interested in, maybe you needed to add a website to your library and you need to do that manually. You can do that directly from EndNote. So you'll see this little button here. It looks like a clipboard with a plus sign. That is going to be the new reference link, and it might be hard to see again, so I'll just talk you through it. This little pop-up window will show up and it automatically goes to journal article. But maybe you, again, are looking at just a web page. You have all of these options here to select what reference type you want to add. And all the way at the bottom is going to be the web page. And the fields will change just a bit for you. And then you can start manually entering all the fields that you need for the web page, maybe a blog, a conference proceeding, anything like that. Let me see, I have a chat. Yes, if you have an existing library, EndNote can look for the full text as well. And I'll show you how to make sure you have that set up so that it works for you, because you do need to put in a specific URL to get that to turn on. So if you are entering anything manually, I just have a couple notes here just to keep in mind. So if you are typing an author name, you would want to do so. You want to make sure that you put a period at the end of the initial. So starting, so I have Harris, comma, J, period. This will make sure that you are separating all of your authors. And if it's multiple authors, they do need to be entered separately. So each line needs to be a separate author. However, maybe you are adding something that's written by an institution. So something like Medical College of Wisconsin. Now here's something that's different. If you're writing in an institution, an organization, you don't want to use a period. You'll want to use a comma for that. And again, I do have this information listed in my quick tips guide, just so you'll remember in the future. And you might be wondering why this is red. That's just indicating that it's a new keyword, author name, anything like that. So red will just indicate that it's new and not in your terms list yet. And just another note, if you are adding something specific, do take into consideration what output style you are using. So if you're using APA style, you want to make sure that you're using their reference style over here, because they do use sentence case for titles. So just something to keep in mind as you're writing these in. However, if you forget, just know that you can go back and edit anything that you put in here, whether it was automatically imported from PubMed or something you entered manually. So I'm going to not save that one. And maybe you're working with someone that sent you a PDF and you want to just import that automatically. You don't want to go find it in PubMed, then download it, because you already have the PDF. Why not just import it right away? So you can actually do that as well. So I'm going to go to File and Import. And I'm going to look for this PDF I just have sitting on my desktop. All right, so I have my PDF selected, and I'll just import that into my library. And it'll just take a second. So you'll see here, it automatically was able to get the information I needed for my citation. So you'll see all of that right here. And what's great is it already attached that PDF for me. So now I'm going to go back to my all references. And did anyone have any questions about adding references to your library?
Can you just show how you did that, the imported reference thing again?
Yeah, of course. So I'm going to go to File, Import, and then I'll locate the PDF that I want to add. So I know it's this one right here, this regional brain development. Just click the PDF and click Import. And then
And can you import more than one at a time?
let's see. Let's go back to, let's try it together. Let's see. At least on my end, it doesn't look like I'm able to.
Ashley, try to do the control or
Yeah.
key and see if it'll highlight more than one.
Yeah, I'm trying my commands.
I think yours is command, yeah.
Yeah, nothing, it's not working on my end with any of
Okay.
my normal selection tools. You actually, you might be able to just drag them in. and drop. So that might be your other option. So again, on the Mac, I wasn't able to select more than one. However, it did look like I was able to drag and drop. All right. So now I wanted to show you how you could organize your references into different groups. Now, for myself, most of the time I do use EndNote when I'm working or did work with individuals and groups that were maybe working on systematic reviews. So typically I use my groups to separate out my databases. So typically I was working with 4 to 5 different databases. So I would create groups for each one, just so I knew what citations were coming from which database, so that I could keep track of that for the documentation. However, I did notice that from another training I did that some individuals liked using their groups to keep organized when they were writing their paper. So I thought I'd show you that example. And again, I only gave you 2 examples. You can use these for anything to keep organized. But I'm going to, for me, I'm going to control click, but I can either create a group. So maybe I did want to do maybe I wanted to start creating groups for my databases, and then I could drag my citations in.
I have a
However,
quick question.
oh, go ahead.
For someone using a PC or Windows, would that just be like a right click?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. But if I were organizing my paper, maybe I want to create a group set for that. So I'm going to title my group set. I'll just write article. So from here, I can start adding different sections to my article. So in my introduction, maybe I want to add one for my, so like that. So that's how group sets work. You can kind of create groups under one main heading. So that's one example that one of the researchers that I was working with found it was helpful to use groups that way. But if you're ever using groups, I would not use them for separate projects. Always use a new library for each project, because you're going to just start adding your references, to one library. If you're only organizing it by groups, things can get very corrupted on the back end. So when you start using Cite While You Write, you're not going to stay organized. So our recommendation is to always use a different library for each project. All right. So now I wanted to talk about deduplication. That is going to, so because I went to both PubMed and Scopus, even here, you can see I have a lot of duplicate publications. Now I want to try and get rid of as many as I can before I continue on. And again, this is something we do for systematic reviews, just because you want to get that number down to the real total number that there is. So I am going to go to library, and I just want to point out that I did move back up to all references. And now I'll click library, and I'm going to look for find duplicates. And here you'll see this information. I always skip this because it's going to ask you this for each one. Do you want to keep this one or that one? And just a side note, a tip that we have, it will keep the first one added. So because I went to PubMed first, if there are duplicates found, it's going to delete the article that I got from Scopus. So keep that in mind as well. If you want to keep the reference from a specific database, you'll want to import that one or download those citations first. So just something to note, but it's really not that important because you will see that they are pretty much identical. You just might get a little bit of information from one or the other. So it looks like PubMed's giving me the EPUB date, the ISSN, which might be helpful. Accession number, it might have some different keywords. So you'll note that there are just a few differences. However, Scopus includes a URL back to the article itself. So, you know, one's not necessarily better than the other. It's going to be preference, but I like to just cancel that and go over here. So out of the 4,500, my first duplicate run found 212 duplicates. And you'll see right now that these are grayed out. Those are the duplicates that it found. And for me, I'm gonna click, grab, and just drag those over to the trash. So technically it was 105 duplicates. But that was just the first run. So when I'm doing this, I will run my deduplication probably at least 4 times until I'm not finding anything else. So you might be wondering, well, how does that work? I'm going to go back over to preferences. So like I showed you before, I'm going to click preferences and I have duplicates right here. So you can see these boxes that are checked. I have author, year, title, and journal selected. Now, this is going to give me the most accurate deduplication possible. That means that the duplicates need to match on all 4 fields to be counted as a duplicate. However, when I'm doing this, I'm going to try removing some and seeing how many more I can find, because you'll notice that the journal title might be different database to database. They might use different abbreviations. So Scopus and PubMed won't necessarily use the same journal title. So I'm going to unselect that secondary title, click save, and then pop back over again, go back to all references. And then I'm going to find duplicates again. And it will do the same thing. So this actually worked much better. You'll see the duplicates 1900, which again, half of them will be the ones we're removing. So that was really helpful. Again, showing you that the journals sometimes aren't the same. So if you look at Journal of Surgical Oncology, we have J, Surg On Call for PubMed, but then Scopus spells it out completely. So that's why we're getting so many here. And again, just drag and drop in the trash. So that's really helpful. You'll see that all references starting to dwindle down. And I won't show you all the complete process today, but I would keep doing that until I don't find any more. However, when I'm matching on maybe just 1 or 2 fields, I'm going to have to probably spot check and make sure that they are the same article. Sometimes you'll even see the author names are just a bit different, database to database. But again, I want to make sure that I'm not deleting anything that is truly a unique record. And if you ever have questions about deduplication, if I went through that kind of fast, feel free to reach out and I can show you again. But finding full text, I know that was a question before. So maybe you already have a library created and you want to try finding that full text. So you'll want to go to preferences again. And you're going to look for find full text. So I have all of this set up and you'll need to enter this information. This open URL path is going to be this link here. And then there's an authentication link, so our Open Athens Authenticator. So when you saw that I imported that first set of citations, I was prompted to log in and authenticate since I'm off campus and run that find full text feature. But you may be wondering, how do I find these URLs? You can actually go to, and I will find it, and then I'm going to put this in the chat for you all. So we have a libguide specifically on EndNote. And that is where these URLs are going to live. You'll see they're highlighted here for you so that you can configure EndNote to access your full text articles. So that open URL path is going to be right here. You'll just want to copy that and paste it. And then that authentication URL is right here. So again, copy that and paste it. So let me put this libguide into the chat for you. Let's see. All right, so now you have that EndNote guide. But again, if you ever have questions, please reach out. I probably sound like a broken record, but I do mean it. If you ever need anything, just feel free to send me an email. All right. So now I wanted to, you're welcome. Okay, so it looks like we're about 45 minutes in. I'm actually going to jump to using Cite While You Write. I do have a few more advanced tips that I can go over if we have time. Otherwise, again, they'll be in this document for you. But I really wanted to show you what it looks like to insert your citations within Word. So going back to when you install EndNote, you will be prompted if you have any Microsoft applications open, whether it's Outlook or Word, it will prompt you to close all of those so that it can install the EndNote tool within your Microsoft Word. And you'll note that I do also have Zotero in here, so you can have multiple citation managers on a single device if you need to. But I have my EndNote 20 tab open here, and you'll see all of the tools that are available to me. So let's just start by how I would probably most simply add a citation. So if I write something out and I need to cite it, I'm at the end of my sentence here. All I need to do is go over to Insert Citation. Sorry, I think it's freezing on me for a second. There we go. Let's cancel that. All right, so insert citation. Sorry about the delay. There we go. Okay. So I tested this out earlier, but so I just clicked Insert Citation itself. So from there, I can search my full list of citations within my EndNote library. And if I'm looking for someone specific, I would just type in their name.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Can you search by title or year or anything as well?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything on those general fields you'll be able to search for.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Evans publishes on a lot of stuff, so let's just pick one. Okay. So I found the article I wanted. And so with this name, of course, it's someone from MCW. I know that. And he's on quite a few publications. So you might have to scroll or possibly use multiple keywords. So maybe Evans 2020, that will bring that up a little faster for you. And again, that's the one I want. I can see all of this information here and I'll just click insert. So I have APA style selected right now. So you'll see it uses APA style to insert that citation. And what's also great is it will start building my reference list for me, again, in the APA style. So it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. And I will say, if you start using APA, something happens, you need to change, all you have to do is switch that here. So maybe you need JAMA style. It will automatically switch that for you. So don't feel like if you start with one, you're kind of stuck. It will automatically switch back and forth, which is really nice. Let's see here. But I also have an example here where maybe you need to import multiple references at the same time. An easy way to do that is to pull them up here. So it might not just be as easy as I'm showing you, but I'm just going to pick 3 random articles. Say I do want all 3 of these to be inserted after this sentence here. I've selected them in my EndNote library. I'm going to jump back over to my document and I'm going to hit this little drop down arrow for insert citation. And I'm actually going to click insert selected citations. And now it's added all 3 of them to my document seamlessly. It's updated my reference list, my in-text citations are formatted correctly, and I'm good to go. So you can do this the same way I even did this Evans publication. If you find it in EndNote and you want to just do it that way, you just select the citation you want, hop back over to Word and click Insert Selected Citation. But once you are working within your document, maybe you put the wrong citation in or you want to change something out, I would not suggest just clicking on something and deleting it. This document has code running behind it with EndNote. So if we start deleting things just, as we want to, we can corrupt the document and then you could, have issues in the future. So my suggestion, if you need to delete something, highlight the one you want to delete, and you're going to look for Edit and Manage Citations. So I've selected that one. You can see it's highlighted here. Now, from here, I can actually do a couple things. Maybe I need to edit the citation itself. Maybe you needed page numbers included, or you needed a prefix like as cited in, anything like that that you can think of, you can add those here. But if you do want to delete a citation, you'll notice I have my Evans article highlighted, and you'll see on the right-hand side, there's a small little drop down. Now from here, I have a couple options. I can edit that library reference within EndNote, or I can remove that citation. So say I want to remove that. All right, we're good to go. I'm going to hit OK. And you'll see that my citation has been removed from that sentence and my reference list is now cleaned up. So that is just a quick, simple overview on how I would insert citations. And I'm going to jump to the end. If you were finished writing your paper, you're ready to submit it to a publication, you're going to want to break the connection with EndNote. So if you sent it as is, it's going to have all that code in there. It's going to feel messy. It might not open when it gets to your publisher. You can actually convert the entire document to plain text. And it's going to, let's save it. Okay, So now it's created a second document for me, a copy that is plain text. I can go in, edit anything I need to, and it won't mess with the code. However, once you get to this point, you won't be able to go back and change anything like you did with the previous one, how I was switching back and forth between citation styles. You won't be able to do that at this point with this document. You can go back to your original and do that, but not with the second one. So that's why it's good to make sure you, once you create it, that you save it as something unique, something that will remind you that this document is the one that is your final document ready to submit, not the original that still has that connection to EndNote. So just in case you need to go back and work with that information, you just don't want to be stuck with just this version here.
Do you mind showing us how to convert the original document one more time?
Yeah, of course. So let me
Thank
delete
you.
that one. Okay, so now we're back to the original. We can see all of this. It still has that connection. I am going to go under, so it's actually under tools. So under EndNote 20, under tools. This could be different if you are on a PC. I'm not sure if it's under tools, but it is there. I know that. So you'll just look for convert to plain text. And you'll hit OK. So that just meant that it's creating a new document. And there you go. So from here, I'd want to make sure I saved it as something unique. Again, just a reminder that this is the one that is no longer connected to EndNote. But it looks like we have about 6 minutes left. I know it was a lot of information. I hope it was helpful. But did you have any questions right now that I can possibly revisit anything, go over something maybe you thought you wanted to know?
Do you mind showing how to create a new library? I accidentally used the Teams link at first, so I joined a little late.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
So let me get rid of that or just minimize that. So I already have EndNote open. And I can actually, so while it's open, again, I'm on a Mac, so it might be a bit different when you're doing a PC or working on a PC, but it's going to be the same. You're just going to look for new. So file new, and that will start creating my new library. So from here, I'm going to want to pick a folder to save it in that I can keep everything together. So if you joined late, you might not have heard me say that when you're creating an EndNote library, you're actually creating the library itself, as well as a data file that kind of sits behind it. It has all of the information that you need so that the code, it's going to have any full text that you inserted. So things like that. That's why we want to keep those files together. So when you create your library, you just want to create it somewhere where you can have the files within one single folder. And I will say the default name is going to be my EndNote library. I would switch that to something more unique so that you're able to differentiate between topics. So come up with a unique name. And then let's see. So I'll just create a test one right now. So I'm going to put this in a folder I have created, and I'll click save. And then my new library will automatically pop up. So now you'll be able to access that anytime from that folder.
How do you know which library you're exporting to from like the web or something?
Yeah, for me, I would not leave both of these up. I would pick one. So I'm going to X out of my other test. I'll cancel that. I'd actually probably X out of this one. So I'd close one. So make sure you just have one window open. That way, you know, you'll be importing those references into the correct file.
Okay, so the library you have open is the one you'll be using at that point. Okay.
Yeah, and I do this all the time. So I have quite a few, if you can tell, test libraries, real projects. I just make sure I have the one I'm working with selected. So open, that's what the check mark means. So only have one open, and then you won't run into any issues uploading to the wrong library or anything like that. So just make sure you can, I can see the one I'm working with, so that when I pop over to my database, I know, I'm going to upload it correctly. If you did make a mistake, you could correct it. You could just put the citations in the trash if you needed to. So if you accidentally imported it into the wrong library, you can just delete those. It would be under imported references. So say you already had existing files in there, and then you accidentally uploaded or imported, say, 500 articles from into the wrong library. It would say 500 here. You'd click all those and then just drag them to the trash. But again, like I've said many times, if that happens to you, feel free to reach out and we can go through that. Were there any other questions? I'll go back to the Zoom registration and grab all of your emails, and I will send you my quick tips document that has everything I did go over, plus a little more. If you're interested in sharing your library, sending it to someone, if you needed information on how to annotate a PDF, all of that is in my document here, but I am always available to meet again if anyone wants to go over any of the advanced features that are available to you. But I will make sure to send this document to you so you have that for future reference. But otherwise, thank you for joining me today. I really do hope this was helpful. And feel free to reach out anytime. My email is azeidler@mcw.edu. So feel free to email me directly if you ever have any questions. I'm happy to help. Thank you all for joining. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. You too.
Thanks.